A lot of people almost breathing a sigh of relief that this is moving and shifting to the west, but the weather authorities, John Gaughn, following Irma's track as it nears our coast. John, you're saying, hey, don't totally relax yet.
But we're seeing a few glimmers here of positive news because it was looking pretty dire back there along I-10. The track did shift, and it's going to show you that here in just a few moments. In fact, let me back this up and give you a better look at that as I cycled it out of my current program or play. But as I go back here and fire it up, this is the latest from the Hurricane Center now, and what you'll see is the 11 o'clock advisory in terms of position, and you're also going to see that there's some really important, unique details that weren't quite expected to have happen. It does appear now that Cuba did take a toll out of Irma, 120-mile-an-hour winds now. That's just barely into the major category strength. You recall this thing had winds over 175 at one point, but those gusts still up there. Pressure still very, very low. There's the other little twist, northwesterly turn. Not that unexpected because we were looking for the turn to occur. So now moving northwesterly instead of west-northwest or even westerly. And the movement's been fairly sluggish. It was anticipated to slow down, but that seems like a low number. If that were to be the case when we get up and see the 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. update, and I'm watching at 6 in the morning, that would be a little bit concerning because it would mean that the slowness of the track would allow for Irma to do what we all thought would happen, and that would be to go over some super juicy warm waters here. The water is very deep hot, and that usually fires up the eye of the hurricane, and usually that's typically allows for deepening. But the Hurricane Center is backed way off. They had this thing going to a 4, going towards Key West as a 4, but now they're only keeping it as a 3, and that's kind of unique. We didn't see that one coming, as they say. I still see this thing developing an eye that looks pretty darn healthy and likely to expand, especially with that slower motion over that super warm water. Give it another 2 or 3 hours, it'll be back out here between Key West and down there along the Cuban coastline, and I would imagine that the inner structure would probably redevelop. What they're saying is there's multiple eye walls here, and you can see one here, and then there's an outer one there. They're actually moving at different speeds, this set, then that set, and then a slower set on the outer eye wall. So that's part of the little process that we're seeing. So as we look at the details here, I don't see the impact as being greatly reduced because of the track shift, but I am interested to see what happens at 6 o'clock, and I didn't think I would be interested. I'll be watching Richard early tomorrow morning for sure of that. 50-mile-an-hour winds, gusting to 65. This is for Metro Jackson. This includes Middleburg, all the way down south to Keystone, Penny Farms, Green Cove Springs, back out to Fleming Island. You folks there in Clay County, all the way north out there along US 1, and that includes Callahan, Hilliard, Folkston, and then east all the way back out there near Kingsland, Georgia, and then back down towards the Fernandina Beach area, but not quite to the coast. Those are the winds you should anticipate. Sustained 50 with a few gusts to 65. That's tropical storm strength, about what you saw with Matthew. Rain totals will go with 7 to 10, and that includes the nor'easter that's going on right now. As the rains are on target for tomorrow, it's going to get very nasty after around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Could be a few tornadoes out there. The threat's going to stay high as, again, during the afternoon hours on Monday, we may clear out, but there will be a few isolated severe thunderstorms. And storm surge, it will be along the St. Johns River still, about 1 to 2 feet, but maybe the emphasis will be about a 1. And for power outages, maybe a couple, 3 days for a good chunk of you, and then maybe up to a week in those more impacted areas. And that could be due to severe thunderstorms that produce either super high winds in a few locations or possible tornadoes. Now, inland, it was appearing, there's I-75. The storm is going to track right along it. Now it's all the way out into the Gulf. And again, the twist there is that the track taking it all the way to the Gulf, but the Hurricane Center weakens the storm as they see large amounts of sheer high-level winds up to 30 miles an hour, which is not that much, but again, it's enough in their minds that it'll kind of wipe out the storm. So they have it as a Category 1 in the Gulf. That means Gainesville, it won't be as dire as we talked about earlier, and probably much closer to what you see here, 65-mile-an-hour winds with those gusts around 80, and that will cause widespread power outages. Alachua County, Columbia County, Gilchrist, all the way out to, back along the Gulf Coast, and then back eastward towards 301. You'll see that as well. High tornado threat, a higher threat of tornadoes there, And for the back roads, they'll flood out. And for some of you folks will be without power for weeks. Georgia Islands, I'm just going to kind of tell you about them because they have a weird, different deal. Brunswick, Georgia, St. Simon's Island, all the way out there towards Altamaha Sound. What was the one sound right there near, what did you call it? St. Andrew Sound. The folks up there know what I'm talking about because I talked to Rebecca and she's from the area. She knows. And there's basically, you guys up there will have a storm surge threat because of southeasterly winds that'll be pushing on in. And it looks like it'll still be a little less than what it was for Matthew, but it will be significant. And in terms of power outages, it'll be pretty big. And last one here, I'm just going to talk about Florida beaches all the way down the coast. From Ferdinand Beach, Jax Beach, Neptune Beach, Atlantic Beach, Ponte Vedra Beach, Volano Beach, down to St. Augustine Shores, and then down towards Marineland. Winds 50, 60. There will be a few gusts, and these will come into heavy rain bands, and we'll get a better timing of those rain bands as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. Rainfall amounts a little lighter here, but still the threat of excessive power outages, very likely. And this is all based upon information that we got from the National Hurricane Center here at 11 o'clock.